discussing about MySQL Workbench. Before this class, we started the discussion on MySQL where I discussed about the nitty-gritty of SQL, why it's important to us as data analyst, and what SQL can do for us. And they also discussed about some definitions of terminologies. We did all that in our last class. Today, we're going to start decoding in MySQL, and we're going to be using the MySQL Workbench. This is the official graphics user interface for MySQL. Now, everybody is going to have local instances. So I want us to click on local instances. And when we click on our local instance, we should have this white space here. This white space is called the query editor, where we're going to do our typings. We're going to do a lot of things here. Do a lot of crazy things here. So that is the query editor. Are you following? So also is we have the save icon up here. This icon here is used to save. When we click on it, it opens rather. The open icon is used to open a script, while the one beside it is used to save a script. Now, the one here is used to execute a code that has been selected to be executed. Now, but before we move, we need to bring in our sample database file that we have downloaded. So to do that, we click open, and then we go to our download folder. Mine is in my downloads folder. So I go to my download folder, right? Maybe don't save yet. And then you see, there you have it. So this is the sample database file. All I need to do now is for me to click on this one, the execute. And once I execute, it's going to run the whole sample database file for me. Can you see now? Good. Now you can see everything is okay down here. You ignore this yellow one, don't worry, but everything is okay. Then what I need to do now is I need to come to schemas and refresh my schemas. How do I refresh my schemas? I just come to this refresh icon, I click on it, and then you can see we now have classic models there. Now, I need to initiate my classic models. So for me to initiate my classic models, I need to double click on classic models. Pam, pam. And once I do that, you will see that classic models is going to be black. And also down here is going to be what? Is going to be green in color. That's to tell you that I have initiated my what? My classic models. Now, we are done with this. We need to now open up a new sheet for us to type. So we come up here to say create SQL sheet. So you click on it, it's going to open a new tab for you where you can now do your typings. So we're now about to start the class. The session is starting now. So now once you have done that, you have successfully restored your classic models database. Now it's time for us to now start querying the database. So where do I start from? We start from learning how to comment. So to comment in SQL, we use minus minus to comment in SQL. So we say minus minus, we put in the name, then say MySQL November have cohorts. I like writing a capital letter, so let me go back. MySQL November DAF cohorts. November 2023. And this is your day 2, right? We have what's it called? Facilitated by me. For quantum engine. So all these are just a way of writing notes, telling the computer not to see everything we have done there. That's what the minus minus is for. So moving on. So moving on, we now need to now start writing our code. So how do we now start writing our code? How do we start writing our code? So to start writing our codes now, we have our table at the other side, right? We have our classic models table here. Now we need to see what we have inside of the classic models. So we go to the classic models, we go to tables. We have all these tables: customers, employees, office, and the rest. So we want to query each of these tables to find insights from it. Now, where best to start other than us starting on how to fetch columns? So let's start by learning how to fetch columns. Fetching columns. So, and how do we fetch columns in SQL? How do we fetch columns in SQL? To fetch columns in SQL, we use the select from statement. So the select statement is used to fetch, used for fetching what? Fetching columns from a table. So it can be used to fetch all columns or specific columns from a table. So now let's talk about those two things there. One, fetching all columns. So how do we use to fetch all columns? To fetch all columns, we use the asterisk sign after the select statement to do what? To fetch all columns. So let's take for example, we want to fetch everything in the customer or employee table. So we say select asterisk from employee, from employees, put our semicolon, we highlight and we do what? And we execute. So that fetches everything in the employee table. So you can see the employee table, everything there is being fetched. Now let's do another example. Let's fetch it in the payment table. So we say select asterisk from payments. You put a semicolon and you highlight and you run. And you can see we have everything in the payment table as well. So that is how you fetch all columns. Now, going on, what if you want to fetch specific columns? To fetch specific columns, we put the name of the desired columns after select statement. This you can say easily, you can say select. Take for example, let's say we're interested in the customer number and the amount in this table. We say select customer number, amount from what's the other table? Payment table. So you can see that with this, we need to sideline or reduce the amount of columns that are shown. Now we already have two columns, customer number and the amount column. Customer number and the amount column. Then we'll continue. So that's how we do what? That's how we fetch columns from a database. That's how we fetch columns from a table in the database. Now let's learn how to remove duplicate records. So to remove duplicate records in SQL, we use the distinct keyword. We use distinct to what? To remove duplicate records from a what? In a table. It's distinct to remove duplicate records from a table. So let's take for example, let's go to the product table. So we say select asterisk from product because we're just going for the product table for the first time. Highlight and we run. Let's say we're interested in the product line. So we move on, we say select product line. from product. Once we did this, we can see we really have product line, but you notice that they are all duplicate. So what if we want distinct product lines? How do you go about it? We just say select distinct product line from product. And I put a semicolon, we highlight it, and we execute it. That way, we have our what? Our distinct product lines. And see now we have classical, motorcycles, automobiles, and the rest there. That's our distinct product lines. I hope you are following everybody. I hope you are getting it. You can pause the video or take it back to go and check what I've said so that you have a full grasp of what is being said. So now, let's do another one. Let's learn how to sort records. Sorting records. So to sort records in MySQL, we use order by. So order by is the keyword used to sort records. Use order by to sort records. Order by is the keyword used to do what? Is the keyword used to sort records. Now, going on, we sort records in two ways. We sort records in what? In two ways. We sort record in two ways. And what are the two ways used to sort records? We sort records in the ascending manner. Sort record in ascending using what? ASC, which means that what? We are sorting from the smallest to the largest. From the smallest to the what? To the largest. Example is maybe we are going from A to Z. We are going from 0 to 9. That is what? Ascending. Then we can also sort in descending. Which is what? DESC, which means that what? We are sorting from the largest to the smallest. So example is maybe we are going from Z to A, or we are going from 9 back to 0. I hope you are following everybody. So that is how you sort records in what? In SQL. That's how you sort records in SQL. So let's give example. Let's go to the customers table. Let's go to the customers table and let's see something very nice there. So select asterisk from customers. Let's run this. So in the customers table, what if you are interested in the contact last and contact first name? So we say select contact last name. So that we'll have the names of all our customers, right? Now contact first name from customers. Semicolon, yeah, right. And you're on. Name, Name. That we have our what? We have our first and last names. So you can see this is not arranged in any particular order. What if you want to arrange based on the last names? Say in ascending. But first, I remove my semicolon because I want to continue with the code. I say order by what? Order by last name. In what way? Order by contact last name. In what way am I ordering? Oh, I'm ordering in the ascending manner. So order by contact last name ascending. I put my semicolon. When I highlight it all, and I execute. So that way you can see I have my results. Akotsi Paulo, Alaja GM Ranan, Anderson Mel, Anton Carmen, and the rest, and the list goes on. What I've done, that's how you do what? That is how you sort records. So it's just you arranging records. So let's now learn how to limit records, limiting records. So limiting records means that what? We are reducing the amount of rows. So used to reduce, not reduce, reduce, we used to reduce the amount of records or rows that are displayed. So how do you go about it? How do you go about it? We use the top end. Top end is the keyword used. Top end is the keyword used to limit functions. Where n is the number of rows on the count. Example. Let's go to the payment table. So went to the payment table. It goes. Then you have all the payments. But you want to order everything based on the amount. So you want the largest amounts to come before the smallest ones. So we say you do what you quickly highlight and you have it. All you want to do is you need to just the top 10. You need just top 10. So first after 10, you come to select and just say top 10. So you want to top 10 everything from payment. Top 10. Top is used in MySQL, in Microsoft SQL. So here we use the keyword limit. Remember I told you about differences between some of the different vendors that we have. So we use limit in MySQL, but in Microsoft SQL, we use top 10. So we say limit 10. So those are some of the differences that I usually tell you about. So in Microsoft SQL, we use what? Top 10. But in MySQL, we use limit 10. And I can see, if you look at the result I have now, you notice that we only have 10. Nothing more, nothing less. Just 10 of the results. So that is how we limit functions. That's how we limit functions. Let me give you time for you to quickly go through what I've done and pause, go through what I've done, grasp it. If you have any questions, you can actually drop them now. You can drop them in the comment section so that I'm going to be taking it. I will be able to take your questions and see them and respond appropriately. Okay, question. Now let's now go to something called filtering. Filtering records. So how do we filter records? What are filtering? What is filtering all about? Filtering is just us removing what we want away from what we don't want. Removing what we want from the whole table, the whole database, the whole column. We just want what we want. That's when we use filters. So to filter, we use where to filter. Where is the what is the statement that we use to do what that we use to filter. At the same time, we filter with operators and predicates. We filter with operators and predicates. We filter with operators and predicates. And what are our operators? Our operators are our greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, our and our or. All these are our what? They are our what? They are our operators. So let's give examples on the use of these operators before I then give you examples on predicates. So now let's go. So for operators, what if you want to get information on the customers whose contact first name is Julie? Want to get information on customers whose first contact first name is Julie. So how do I go about this? How do I go about this? So to go about this, we say select, right? We select, what are we selecting? Contact first name. They say they want all the info. So we can easily say select asterisk from customers. And then we run. So once we do this, we have all the information of all customers. But this is everybody. We are only interested in those whose first name is or are Julie. So how do we now go about it? So we now say we want to filter. So we say where contact, since they say the contact first name, where contact first name is equal to Julie. Put your clothes, put your semicolon, and do what you highlight and you run. Once you highlight and run, you can see we have all these four people. They are the ones whose contact first name is actually what is actually Julie. So you can see that we brought out the people that we need. We brought out these people that we've noticed that we need. They are the ones that match our criteria or condition that was given to us. So we proceed. Let's give another example. Let's say we want to get information on customers whose customer number is 321. So same thing. You can easily copy the customer. So let us say from customers to the same customers. So where we got, and then we highlight and we execute. And then we can see, oh, we have only one person. That's Julie Brown. And the person's is what corporate gift idea consultants. So you can see that is how we use the operators. Let me give one more example. Let's say you're looking for somebody whose first name is Julie and last name is King. So how do we go about it? So we have the first information here. This is information about the first name being Julie. So all we need to do is just what to say and last name and what contact last name. So King. So what do? We highlight it, we execute it, and then we have our what? We have our results. We have our results. So we can see that is how filtering works. So now let's now go to our predicates. Let's go to our predicates. So for predicates, man types that down as log a predicate. We have predicates. What are predicates? Predicates are advanced filters. The keyboard, you can see. I don't know why the keyboard is doing this again today. We have three of them. Have in, 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 and like. These are the three predicates. In, between, and like. In, between, and like. So what is in used for? What is between used for? What is like used for? In is used to filter multiple records in a single column. In is used to filter multiple records in a single column. We use in to filter multiple records in one single column. So let's give examples. Suppose I want to find the offices that are located in USA and France. Say I want to find the offices that are located between USA and France. So how do I go about it? Say, oh, we need offices. So that means I'm selecting everything from offices. Ah, what is this going on? So let's see. Let's run it. We have our results. Good. But we're not interested in all offices. We're interested in offices in USA and France. So what do? We easily say what? Where country. They will not say in. We now open brackets. We open our brackets and then we'll put our what offices. So we'll put what? In where? In USA, comma, France. We close our brackets, we put our semicolon, then we execute, we highlight, and we run. So these are all the offices in USA and France. Now that's how you use your in. You can see it's very, very simple. We also use it to replace multiple equals. So I could have written this as where country is equal to USA or country is equal to France. So now what about between? What do we use between for? What do we use between for? Between is very simple. So what we use between for is that we use to filter within range of values. So when we are filtering where we have range of values, we use between. So that's what we use between for. When we have range of values to filter from, we use between to do that. So let's give a very brief example. So let's say we want to find the customer number, the check number, and the amount for customers that have spent between $8,000 and $9,000. $8,000 and $9,000. So how do we go about this? First of all, we have to open up the payment table. So, or they told us what they want. They said they want what the customer number. Select customer number, comma, check number, comma, amount from payment. Good. So I like this. We have our results. But we are not interested in everybody. We are interested in only those that meet this condition. spent between 8,000 and 9,000 US dollars. So what do? We say where amount lie in between 8,000 and 9,000. I will put our semicolon and then we do what? We highlight and we execute. So once we do that, you can see we have our result. Out of all the stores that we have there, you can see that only 2 of them actually meet the what? Only 2 of them actually meet the criteria given. Only 2 of them actually meet the criteria given. The criteria of being what? Between 8,000 and 9,000 US dollars. So you can see that between 2 is very, very simple, just like our in. It's very simple, easy to use. Very simple and easy to use. So now let's go to like. Like, on the other hand, is used for what we call pattern filtering. So like is used for pattern filtering. We use like for what? We use like for pattern filtering. We use like for pattern filtering. And this like is used with 2 different operators. The like is used with what? With 2 different operators. We use like with what? 2 different operators, which are the percentage and the underscore. The percentage is called wildcard, while the underscore is called underscore. So the wildcard or percentage is used to filter as many characters as possible, while the underscore is used to filter only 1 character at a time. Only 1 character at a time. So let's give examples on that so that we can cement our knowledge about the use of this. So let's say we are interested, we want you to get the full contact names of customers with first name starting with JE. Well, first name starting with who? With JE. First name starting with JE. How do we go about that? So we say select. They say they want the full contact names, meaning they're selecting what? The contact first name, the contact last name, contact first name, and the customer name from customers on this one. So we have everything, right? But we don't want everything. We are looking, okay, we don't even want the customer name self. They say only the full contact names. Good. From customers, but this is everybody. But we're only interested in those whose their first name starts with JE. So how do we go about that? So we say, yeah, contact first name, like, put your quote, you put your JE. Now, before you run it, you now need to put your operators. Because they've already told us that it is starting with JE. That means there is J, there is E, and there are a lot of things after JE. So that's how we do it. So we now put JE, then we'll put percentage sign after the JE. So when we put percentage sign after like this, it means it's starting with JE, and there are a lot of things after the JE. So we highlight and we execute, and then that way we have our results. So you can see our results. We have Jean, Jeff, Jerry, Jean, Jesus. So these are all people whose first name are starting with what? With JE. So you can pause and take it again, or look at the code very well, or you can go back and watch how I've explained that part. So let's look for another one. What if we are going a step further to say, oh, I want you to give me contact names of customers with JE, and that name is actually a 4-letter word. So this time around, we are definite. So since we are definite, the code is going to still be the same, just that instead of us using the percentage, we're going to be using the underscore twice, right? Meaning that we know that it's 5 characters, it's 4 characters, so JE and 2 other characters. So when you use underscore, I told you underscore is 1 character at a time. So when you use JE underscore 1 underscore 2 for these 2 different characters, you can see that it is very, very simple. So you just go, you put your semicolon, don't forget to put your semicolon. Don't forget to always add your semicolon. Then you do what? You highlight all, and you what? And you execute. Now that way you can see we have two people, Young Jeff and Young King Jean. These are the two people that meet this different set criteria. These are the two people that meet the what? The different set criteria. What if we now have peoples that their last names are ending with ON? These ones, their last names are ending with ON. So how do you go about ending with? So to go with ending with, all we need to do is you can still even just copy the same code block up to like, right? Because of time. And then we say what? It ends with what? ON. We say ON goes, but since it is ending with ON, it means that there are a lot of things before the O, right? And the N. So that means we just have our what? Our percentage sign before what? Before ON. Then you put your semicolon, you highlight the code and you execute it, and then you have your result. Oh, there is nobody whose person's whose it's last name, not first name. Sorry, contact last name. The last name. Good. So let's run it again. Now, this thing is not an error. It's just telling me that there was nobody that met the criteria. So let's change it back to last name as it was supposed to be. And then you can see we have the last names. Ferguson, Nelson, Devon, Thompson, Harrison. All these people are those whose last name ends with what? With O-N. So with that, we've been able to come to a conclusion on how to use filters. So the way you filter does not pass everything that we have here. It's not going to pass it. So you just need to think about what you need to do, your case points or your case study with, and your knowledge about each of these keywords are going to allow you to be able to filter successfully. So now let's now go back. Let's now go to the ending part of this class, which is what? Which is aggregate functions. The ending part of today's class, which is what? Aggregate functions. So what are aggregate functions? The aggregate functions are used to perform aggregates on a column. We use the aggregate function to do what? We use to perform aggregates on a column. We use the aggregate function to perform aggregates on a what? On a column. And the aggregate function is always within the select statement. It is always within the select what? The select statement. It's always within the select statement. And we have few of them. So we have our sum, which is what? Our sum is used to it returns the total number of what? Of all values in a what? In a column. The sum returns the total number of all values in a column. Example of that is if you go to the amount and we say select sum of amount from payment. So let's go to amount. So we say select, I started from payment, right? We have everything just to check that there's a column known as amount in there. Okay, we've gone there. So what if you're interested in the total transactions that we have? So how do we go about it? So we just say, so this time around we say select amount from where? From payment. So this is going to sum up all the amount column for us. And then we have our result. We can see the sum of amount is what? 8,853,839. So also we have count. So count. What does count do? Count gives the frequency of what? Of values in a what? In a column. It gives the frequency of values in a column. So let me just copy this one and replace the sum with count. So what does that mean? It means that what? We are counting each of the transaction that gave us that amount. And when we counted, we saw that we had what? 203 transactions, gives us 8,859,839 rows earlier. Good. So that's sum count. The next one is our mean. returns the minimum value, in a colon. We have our max, which returns the maximum value, in a colon. Then we have our AVG, which returns the average, mean values, in a colon. So how do we now go about this? So I want to put all this one together as well. So we say select max, or let's say mean of amount, comma max of amount, comma AVG of amount from payments. You can write it one now, one that the way we did the former examples, or you can have it all together like this, and you can run it. That way you have the minimum amount to be $615, maximum amount spent is $120,000, and the average amount is $34,431. So you can see that is how we use the mean, maximum, minimum, the average, discount, and this and the sum. So now these are all called aggregate functions. So this is where we're going to be stopping for the class, and then we're going to be continuing the class on Sunday to cement our result. The next class, we're going to continue the next class, and we're going to cement everything we've done. We're going to continue with other, because there are a lot of other things for us to learn. So thank you very much, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give your comment. Ask your questions in the comment section. It is actually going to go a very long way. So thank you very much, everyone, and see you in class. See you in class.